fishing was kind of romantic. When I started fishing, you just went to the fish and game office, you bought your license, you could fish whatever was available.
Morro Bay has been a fishing community since incorporation and long before. The harbor has always been the heart of our community. And it brought a certain cultural aspect in too of a working class fishing village that you don't see much on the California coast anymore.
Fishing is our heritage. We've had fishing for 50, 60, 70 plus years, before that even.
Oh, this was just a picture of me when I was 20 years old unloading rock cod.
When I first came here in 1990, I was really struck by the characters of the waterfront, and everybody has a nickname, and you know, there's Slow Eddie and One Trip Dave, Fast Eddie, and he always called the environmental groups eco-wackos. So.
We talked about the background of environmentalists and the fishing industry sort of always fighting each other. You know, you'll hear the fishing industry talk about corrupt environmental groups, and you'll hear environmental groups talking about, you know, fishermen out there raping and pillaging our ocean resources. Well, if you want to go work with a fisherman, if you want to go talk to him on his boat, that sort of language isn't going to get you very far at all. The Nature Conservancy had to step back and take a look at the world from the perspective of the fishermen.
We heard what seemed like a crazy rumor at the time that some environmental group was trying to buy up a bunch of trawl permits on the Central Coast.
Nobody liked it. Fishermen were always individual by nature. You know, they did their own thing when they felt like it.
So when I heard about that, we got a hold of them and expressed some concern, you might say. I don't remember the first meeting being particularly warm and fuzzy.
In a small community like Morro Bay, there's been overcapitalization. The fishery's economic performance, its landings, had really decreased dramatically between about the mid-90s to the early 2000s.
When the Nature Conservancy came into town, things were kind of at the bottom.
If you looked at their business practices over the course of several decades, there hasn't been that much change. And for a lot of reasons, there's certain perverse incentives within management that are sort of hard to shake up.
I used to fish by myself on the boat there for a few years, and the decline of albacore and salmon in this area, the rockfish closures, it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't a situation where I wanted my kids to try and be involved. I kind of had hoped that they would get other jobs and do other things.
Being on the ocean's a lot of work, but at the same time, I mean, there's nothing better. Fishing was getting harder for guys to make a living, and he steered me away from it.
And so a lot of these guys were looking to get out of the fishery. They didn't see a very promising future here.
The train was getting ready to leave the station, and I could stand around and scream about it was wrong, or I could try and help, you know, make it be where it would work for our community. And so I met with Michael Bell, and he discussed the program a little bit.
Bill Blue and I have been many times told that, you know, why are you working with the enemy?
In this day and age, if you're a true fisherman, you should definitely be thinking about how you can manage your resource to where it's there the next year.
And what we found was that the threat for marine biodiversity in the Central Coast was almost exclusively relying on bottom trawling, the dragging of a large weighted net to catch fish on the seafloor.
In the course of fishing with bottom trawls, what often happens is that you can drive down the stocks of some of those more vulnerable species. They just can't withstand that kind of fishing pressure.
We did feel it had gone too far, and we wanted to see what advantages there were to diversifying how you caught fish. So one of the very simple things that we wanted to try was to take some of these permits that had always been used on bottom trawling boats and start putting them on boats that would be willing to use more selective ways of catching fish, like hook and line and trap fishing. Using that selective gear, guys were catching fish in really premium quality condition, and they started getting more money per pound.
If you took away our industry, there's a lot of people that'd be out of a job.
People see this fishery project as a place where we're trying to work with communities to improve both its conservation and economic performance.
It's working because we're working together, trying to accomplish a common goal.
When you join today, you'll help the Nature Conservancy achieve lasting results for both people and nature.